we get into the podcast today, we just wanted to take a little minute to say thank you so much for 5,000 subscribers on YouTube.
Woo,
Yay.
yeah!
It's crazy that we were ever able to hit a milestone like this. I think when we first started, none of us were expecting this channel to really receive any sort of attention. So just the fact that 5,000 of you guys found us interesting enough to subscribe means, more than we can say. So we're just incredibly thankful. And we have a lot of really cool stuff coming up in the works in the next couple of months that we're super excited to share with you all. So stay tuned for that. And I think that's all I have to say. Does anyone else have anything to add?
No, I think you said it beautifully.
But yeah, with that out of the way, thank you again and enjoy the podcast. This week on the Socratic Cinema podcast.
I have never seen My Neighbor Totoro.
Oh my, Kasey, have you seen Totoro?
I have not.
What? Like we have Mando pirate ship episode.
Fisherman.
Fishermando.
Fisherman.
Juice is a great word. Juice, juicy.
Charlie's baiting hard to get an audio bite in the beginning. Welcome, everybody, to another episode of the Socratic Cinema podcast. My name is James Delicio.
I'm Kasey Clark.
And I'm Charlie Heatherly.
And this week, we hit 5,000 subscribers on YouTube. What?
Yes!
But you already know that because you heard the thing at the beginning. And this isn't a 5,000 subscriber special. This is a discussion on Season 2, Episode 1 of Disney Plus original series, directed and produced by Jon Favreau, The Mandalorian.
Yes. So hyped. So hyped for this episode.
I love the music so much. I could listen to that theme music on loop. But
very true.
Yeah, it's been a big week here at Socratic Cinema HQ. A lot of stuff happening, a lot of stuff going on behind the scenes. We had our first official Twitch stream today, as of the day of recording. You know how it is, but yeah, big stuff coming soon with Socratic Cinema. We're making money moves now, so you guys stay tuned. It's an evening recording session today. I'm thinking, I don't know if we've ever recorded this late. Have we?
I don't think we have. I made sure to bring the wine.
Yeah, like we have robes on and we're like fireside chatting it,
I certainly have a robe on. Do you have a robe on?
No, I have
you bastard.
Track pants and a Zion National Park t-shirt on.
Viewer, if you have a robe, please put it on so that you can engage with me in the most comfortable act of chillaxing that has ever been known to the earth. Robes are the best thing ever. But not as good as the Mandalorian's armor, which was one of the key points of this first episode of the new season. How hyped were you guys when this first came on? Personally, I stayed up until 12 o'clock that day, or that night, I suppose, to watch it, and I was just blown away. I thought it was a perfect return to form of the Mandalorian, and I thought it was just phenomenal in visual effects. I thought the casting with Timothy Olyphant was amazing and perfect for that role. And really, I just thought it was a really engaging one-off that laid a lot of groundwork for some future episodes. But I don't know. What do you guys think about it?
Kasey, why don't you go first this time? I'm just not feeling it.
Okay.
I don't know.
I just need a time to prepare myself.
Okay, I will go then. I really liked it. This episode really it kind of followed the same formula as the episode from the first episode from the first season, where you get introduced to Mando again. He goes, beats a whole bunch of people up, so you know what's about to happen, what's about to go down. The child's there, and it's just a really, really fun watch. I was honestly hyped. I did not stay up like Charlie did. Call me not
Fake
committed.
Fan.
Fake fan. I know. I'm a poser. But I really liked how hard it was leaning into the old Western and the shots even, and it goes down to like, we're in to like a bar and there's a spittoon and there's like, ooh, a new sheriff and like all this type of like, fun stuff that you have to pay attention to. But I'm really excited to hear some of the theories that you guys have on what is next. James, what were your thoughts?
I really enjoyed this episode. I think because I really enjoy the Wild West. It's the Westerns are one of my favorite genres. A lot of my favorite movies are Westerns. I'm just a big fan of all things cowboy, you know, and so seeing some Star Wars cowboy content really made my day. And I was a big fan of season one. I loved how much it leaned into the Western genre, sort of like Casey was saying. But I think, and we sort of talked about this in our, we had a couple episodes on season one of The Mandalorian, but we talked about how season one suffered a little bit from a lack of like direction. And I think this season is going to avoid that problem, and we'll talk more about that hopefully later. But I really enjoyed the episode. I think it was maybe a little too side questy to be a premiere, but nonetheless, I thought it was super fun, and I really enjoyed it. And I thought Timothy Oliphant's character, what's his name?
Marshall.
Cobb Vance. Yeah.
Yeah, something Vance.
Yeah, the Marshal. I'll just call him the Marshal. I think the Marshal's character was super fun and just classic, and I loved how the armor looked on him. I just thought his costume was really just appealing. But overall, yeah, I enjoyed this. I mean, I have a few little like gripes here and there, but don't I always? But yeah, I feel like it might be a good idea to open our discussion today with a question. And my question is, do we think this was a better premiere than season one or a worse premiere than season one of The Mandalorian? Whoever wants to answer that can go ahead.
I'm very excited to answer this because I think 100% this is an insane premiere for The Mandalorian. I think
Better though. Better or worse though?
yeah, better 100%.
Okay.
I think that the first episode of The Mandalorian, like the very first one in the first season, probably has a bit. Also, spoilers, by the way, guys. Let's be very careful about that.
Oh,
Spoilers for this entire episode if you didn't have two brain cells and couldn't piece that together already. But I definitely think that season one, episode one had a much better twist at the end. I think Baby Yoda was something that was creative, new, and you had no idea where the hell that was going. Like,
yeah.
it could have gone in a million different directions, and they nailed it because now Baby Yoda is a cultural icon, right? This episode, bringing back who might be Boba Fett, who might be Captain Rex, no confirmation yet. Somebody played by Tamura Morrison, so it has to be a clone of some sort. Probably Boba Fett, though. I think that is a very interesting plot hook, don't get me wrong, but it's not as groundbreaking as something like Baby Yoda was. But I think the general plot of this episode moved a lot better than season one, episode one, mostly because it really leaned into that Western formula. It brought interesting characters that I actually really enjoyed. I mean, the Marshal is somebody who I would love to see make a comeback in future episodes of the series. And additionally, I think that the Tusken Raider hunting with the sandworm is just such a fun little adventure for the Mando to go on that it just really drew me in for the entire episode.
Yeah, that's fair. Casey, what do you think?
I would agree with Charlie that I definitely would put this season's premiere above last season's premiere. I do share the same feelings with you, James, that it was a bit side questy and there was some moments where it was definitely like, okay, this is a Baby Yoda money shot.
Yeah.
Don't
Oh, I loved all the Baby Yoda money shots.
and it was, yeah, I definitely agree with Charlie about the pacing of it because as much as it was a side quest, it was wrapped up perfectly as most of the Mando side quests are. But also with the little sprinkle of, oh, now we have someone else to watch for. And I feel like it was good in making the side quest interesting enough and introducing the characters and all of a sudden I don't know if Mando's always spoken like different languages.
Yeah, I don't know if that's something we've ever really seen before. Him conversing like with aliens so
Yeah,
much.
like
Like,
natives and
yeah.
stuff. But I thought that was a cool kind of thing to do. And I really like the worm scenes.
Yeah,
Those
the
were
crate dragon.
the Creek dragon.
The Alaskan bullworm was great in this episode.
You know, Dune may have been postponed to 2021, but we still got some pretty good Dune content in The Mandalorian, you know.
Where's Timothy
Yes.
Chalamet? Where's my pallid Victorian boy? I was missing him.
Dune's gonna be crazy when it comes out. Just you wait. It's only half the book. The movie is only
Really?
the first half of the first book.
Ooh.
Damn.
They're going big.
A series. That's
But
what's going to happen.
you know, I'm trying to think of how I would answer my own question here. because I feel like a first season premiere and a second season premiere have very different roles. Like a first season premiere's job is to introduce you to the character. Like it has a lot to get done, like on top of a plot hook. But a second season premiere is kind of just like, let's slip you back into the world with a fun adventure. Like I feel much more merciful towards a second season premiere having a fun side quest than a first season premiere, because the stakes are a little lower in a season 2 premiere. You just all its only goal is getting you back into the world, I guess. Um, does that make sense?
No, and I think that makes a lot of sense to me, especially because you guys keep talking about this side quest idea. I mean, really, episode 1, season 1 was a side quest. Like, it was Mando going off for some bounty, right? And he just happened to find Baby Yoda, and also Taika Waititi was there,
I
right?
guess, but like, see, but the first quest of anything is kind of default a main quest. I don't know. I see what you're saying though. I guess my point is sort of that like this episode felt kind of akin to like I don't know how to describe it except for side quest. And I mean, don't get me wrong, it was a good side quest. There were some episodes of season 1, like towards the middle of it, kind of. I'm thinking of that one also on Tatooine where he's partnered with that beginner bounty hunter, or the one where he's with his old crew on that jail ship.
Oh
There were
yeah.
just some episodes like that where it was kind of like, what are we doing? Like, is it like it's just kind of one-offs. And this felt like a better version of those episodes to me. I feel like this would fit right in the kind of episode 5, 6 range of season 1. But
Mm.
nonetheless, I enjoyed it. I just think, like, as I'm the one asking the question, I don't know if I can give an answer. I was just gonna say, as far as enjoyability, I don't know. I mean, they're pretty equal in my estimation. But if we're talking
Really?
about
Mm.
what's a better premiere, I can't say if there's a clear answer. I don't know.
I think that, well, so this is something that has really intrigued me with this sort of definition of the season 2 premiere as a side quest. I think that these side quests are sort of fundamental to the Mandalorian's DNA as a TV show.
Well, I think
Like,
I think that's just because they decided to devote 2/3 of season 1 to side quests.
well, sure, but I think that you make a very good point when you say they're finally doing side quests right. Because I think that what this show wanted to be in season 1 was sort of Star Wars adventures, right? Like Mandalorian is sort of our surrogate character. We go through and we're having all these fun little adventures with him, all these different parts of the planet. He's a bounty hunter. He's taken jobs. That's sort of his thing, right? It's a varied lifestyle. And they
Mhm.
tried to emulate that in the episodes, but what kept people interested really was this whole Baby Yoda subplot, and it didn't really go anywhere for some of the episodes. But what they did
Yeah.
here is they tie in this Baby Yoda story and this whole we need to bring him back to his species thing directly into the reason why he's veering off on this side quest. It's not just
Absolutely.
another mission, it's that the Mando went to go find somebody that he thinks he can help. And then he realizes that, oh, this Mandalorian armor has been passed on. I need to get it back. It all makes sense to me. This is his religion. This is his whole thing. So I think they've realized that for these side quests to work, they need to mention the main story consistently within them. And
Yeah.
that's what kept me interested in this episode. They bring it in front and center at the very beginning of the episode with that amazing open that they did in the, Gamoran fighting ring. I love that. I thought that was super
Yeah,
fun.
I want to talk more about that too, because there's some interesting, I think, like implications in that scene, and some interesting like reasons why they did some of the things they did. But I think you're absolutely right about the getting side quests right point. Kind of last season, like I was saying, I think suffered, and we all kind of agreed on some of our previous episodes that it felt a little bit aimless. Like there was no overarching, like they hinted at trying to have an overarching story pulling it together, but what it really wound up being was like 2 episodes of plot, then 4 episodes of side quest, then 2 episodes of plot at the end. It was just kind of a weird sandwich. But I think this season might go a little bit better because they have a definite goal. Like season 1 was just Mando found Baby Yoda. Let's see what chaos ensues.
Hmm.
Whereas this season is more like, no, we have a season-long mission, right? Find his people, and hopefully that'll keep the series a little more grounded. Not that they have to get rid of having fun side missions, but just that they'll keep their eyes on the prize a little more, so we can maybe avoid that kind of aimlessness that we got in the middle of season 1.
Hmm. Yeah, no, totally. I think that the stagnate like, looking back on those middle episodes for Mandalorian is very telling because I'm like, I didn't really like that. While I was watching it, I was like, "Oh, cool, Mandalorian," but when I look back, it's not really that memorable. Like, when you brought up the episode where he was working with that inexperienced bounty hunter, I completely forgot that existed. I completely forgot. But this episode sticks out in my mind. And I think mainly a point that we haven't touched on yet, this show got a hell of a lot more production quality. Thank you,
All right, let's
Unreal
hold on.
Engine.
I'm gonna like have a conniption about this point because like it did, but I feel like that budget only kicked in about 50% of the time. There were so many shots that just looked so jank to me. I
The
don't know.
Okay.
tubes.
The tubes and okay, like when we were getting that Cobb Vance flashback of him like telling his story
Oh, that
and
was so funny.
how why did it look so bad when he was walking in the desert? That looked terrible. It looked like
Okay.
a crappy green screen. It just looked so bad. I like honestly completely shattered my immersion for like a second there. I was like, what the hell am I even watching?
So
Uh,
this is actually why I love The Mandalorian. And this is
no,
why
come
I think
on.
well, hold on, let me get to the point. This is why I think Mandalorian is one of the best Star Wars like IPs. It gets the goofiness right. Star
Ah.
Wars has always been this goofy mishmash of things that should not go together. Like, we take Chewbacca for granted, guys. He is a 7-foot tall walking dog that only like talks and grunts and growls. And we
Yes.
think he's badass, right? Star Wars has always had this goofy air about it. So I love these little like imperfections in The Mandalorian, even though they might take me out of it a little bit. It gives me that Star Wars flair that sort of the original trilogy had, where we all knew that this was like it wasn't working on the greatest budget, but when The Mandalorian needs to deliver on that budget, it certainly does. All of the particle effects with that sandworm, oh my god. I cannot even begin to think about how much time that took to render. Like, it is insane the level of special effects that they're pulling off. But you're right, a lot of the shots do look goofy, but personally, I think they add a whole ton of character.
I don't know. I can't get behind it. The Crate Dragon did look absolutely beautiful though. But what do you think, Casey? Was it too goofy or was it just goofy enough?
I think it was just goofy enough because I've had several kind of conversations with my father about Star Wars, and every time we talk about something I'm like, "Oh, it was kind of like silly or it was kind of ridiculous that they did this." He always brings it back to that Star Wars was originally like just like a space soap opera. Like it wasn't necessarily meant to be taken as seriously as it was. And there was a whole bunch of like goofs and a whole bunch of um stuff where it simply just got taken a lot more seriously than it was supposed to. And so I always kind of look at it like that, where like considering going from the prequels and watching how like jacked that animation was
Sure, sure.
to this, like even anything that gives me like prequel flashbacks, like I always try to balance it out with the crate dragon, how amazing the crate dragon looked. And just like as Charlie was saying, like how long it probably took them to render it. And it is, as much as it's like, yes, Disney, it is still like a television show with a television show like budget. So I
Yeah.
guess like I understand the budgeting, the time. Like, do I want the crate dragon to look weird, or can I look past like the tubes and the weird like speeder zoom
Yeah, yeah. No,
effect?
I see that argument. I think it's and I think the difference here is that you guys are looking at the Mandalorian through a Star Wars lens, while I'm looking at it just through a straight up Western lens. I think is like the difference in
Yeah.
views here. And I don't know if one of those is more right than the other. I'm not trying to make that argument. It's just an interesting like difference in observation, I guess, in how we it's like where our priorities lie for what Mando needs to be. Like to
Mhm.
Mando needs to be a Western, but to you guys, Mando's Star Wars, you know? I just think that that's interesting to point out. Or correct me if I'm wrong. Don't let me put words in your mouth.
I mean,
No,
no,
yeah.
I mean, I agree with you. I just personally take Mandalorian as it's a Star Wars franchise being shot in the style of a Western. And I think that always Western movies have sort of had this like overly serious tone, and lots of Western movies have also lampooned the genre itself. I mean, look no further than Blazing Saddles. Like, you will never find a harsher criticism of anything in your life than that movie.
Yeah,
But to me, I think that Westerns have always had this, really self-important tone. And the dialogue in this episode was really goofy at sometimes. And I think it sort of mimics that sort of uh overly serious, like we're taking ourselves like we're these, hardcore adventurers. Whenever the Mandalorian says, I am questing for something,
I love
I
it.
roll my eyes, but I love it because it's totally something that this goofy franchise put into this equally self-serious style of cinema would do. Like, of course the guy is questing for things and he's telling people he's questing for things.
I've always said, like, since season 1, like episode 2, that this just feels like an RPG, like Red Dead Redemption, if it just had
Yes.
a Star Wars mod on top of it, you know?
Oh, that's so good.
See, and it's like you're saying, to you, it's sort of Star Wars with a Western font. To me, it's like Western with a Star Wars font, you know? And I don't know if that'll ever change for me or not. But I think it definitely does affect how we kind of perceive some of the quote unquote flaws. Because a flaw to a Western might not be a flaw to a Star Wars, a Star Wars, you know?
A Star Wars. Well, like, I mean, I would say that even within Westerns, like, they've always had this goofy tone, or a lot of them have this goofy tone to them.
Let me
Of course,
clarify the kind of Westerns I dig are like, I say Western, but I mean like Coen Brothers. I mean like True Grit. I mean like
Oh, okay. Yes. So, well, Coen Brothers is actually really interesting. Have you seen Ballad of Buster Scruggs?
yeah, I have, and I know where
Really
you're
good,
going with
right?
this. Yeah, no, that Ballad of Buster Scruggs was good. It's
Well,
the aesthetic more than anything.
yeah, of course. I would just say within Westerns, there's a lot of variation in terms of tone. So I get that, comparing this to sort of a more serious hardcore Western like True Grit. I mean, True Grit is heavy, dude. True
It's
Grit is
good though.
like
That's one of my
it's really
favorites.
good. No, we should totally do an episode on some old Westerns, by the way, for your next birthday, James, because I know that would be a present for
Dude,
you.
I want to do more Ghibli, man. I don't even care. Like
More
with
Ghibli.
we did Spirited Away and then locked that cabinet up for a while. I really want to do like Totoro.
I have never seen My Neighbor Totoro.
Oh my Casey, have you seen Totoro?
I have not.
What? Okay.
Mm-hmm.
All
I'm
right.
sorry.
No, it's settled.
I'm
We're
sorry
doing
as well.
Totoro next time. It's settled.
Okay, I'm down. Well,
Uh,
yeah, but I don't know, Casey. Have you seen any Westerns of late or ever?
No, I am not.
oh, diggity
I
dog.
have not partaken,
Dude,
but I'd love to.
we're
It
gonna watch
seems
True Grit. We're gonna watch No Country for Old Men. We're gonna watch Magnificent Seven. Then we're gonna watch Seven Samurai after that. Then we're gonna watch Unforgiven. It's gonna be great.
How do you group Magnificent Seven in with those other movies? Or I'm thinking of the remake of Magnificent Seven.
No,
personally.
but the
I've never
original
seen the
Max.
Okay, okay,
So,
okay.
so like there's the new Magnificent Seven, which is a remake of Magnificent Seven, which in itself is a Western remake of Seven Samurai. So you have this weird trilogy. I actually,
Inception.
there's a really cool
Mhm.
thing that I had the conception of a new video essay idea in today as I was thinking about the Mandalorian that I might do later. But basically, I don't know. I'll have to brew on it a little more. But there's some interesting like stuff, Seven Samurai, Mandalorian juice to talk about. Why did I use the word juice in that sense? This is a really good.
Juice is a great word. Juice, juicy, juicelicious.
Charlie's baiting hard. She's baiting hard to get an audio bite in the beginning with that one.
James, I'm just a walking comedian machine type thing. I'm
Comedy
very
machine.
good at what I do.
Oh, jeez. Hook, line, sinker.
You
Did
can
you
put
guys?
that one in the beginning.
Yeah, I'll see if any of that makes it in. I like when I'm in the editing booth. I really just got to be like, can I squeeze the funny out of this or not?
Wow.
You said
Extract
you're
the.
not funny.
No, we're all like kind of funny. You just have to extract it and put it at the beginning so people will watch. I should do an editor's notes video sometime. Just like walk you through
I
the
would love to
process.
see it.
Yeah,
I'd
I
love
think
to
it'd be
see it.
fun. Maybe that'll be some Twitch content. Did you guys notice that Cobb Vance's speeder bike was a pod racer pod?
Yes.
I thought that was so cool.
Oh, that's fun.
Yeah, I didn't even like while I was watching it. I was like, "Huh, that looks a lot like little Anakin's pod racer." Interesting. I just thought that was nifty to point out. Also, like the graffiti in the beginning in that Outer Rim planet, there was definitely like a C3PO. There was definitely something that I thought looked like Captain Rex, kind of, but I'm not
Okay.
sure.
Oh.
Okay. I am 90% sure that that planet is the same planet that Ahsoka was in the final arc, or one of the final arcs of Clone Wars.
Wasn't she just in Coruscant?
No,
Oh, yeah. I know what you're talking about.
the spice one.
Yeah.
Spice Runner.
How do you figure? Like, what leads you
I
to that?
Just generally, the skyline looks very similar to me.
Oh, for
Uh,
sure.
I would say the color of the sky as well, the general architecture of the city, the graffiti within the sort of metro area is also quite reminiscent. Although there were no like major signifiers that the Pikes were still there, the
And
power dynamic could have shifted.
those dog things were not there when Ahsoka was there.
No, the dog things were not there, but a lot has changed since the Clone Wars. So
Fair enough.
I can't make any like hard predictions. That's why I'm not 100% sure, but it looked very similar to me.
That's interesting. Yeah, I don't know. I mean, that'd be cool. Like, big if true, you know.
Mhm.
But I want to talk about that beginning scene a little bit because I think it was very. I have like praise and also like negativity. I don't know. And the praise is that I think, well, not only was that scene just a cool first fight to see, get us back in the feeling, sort of season 2 premiere, exactly. The whistling birds, great to see them come back, you know, all that sort of stuff. I love the whistling birds. That's always like the coolest part of the Mandalorian is it's just a little and everyone dies. Um, but I think that scene was also very important because the important bit that I'm thinking of is when Mando is walking away from that Cyclops guy and he strings him up and just leaves him for the dogs to kill him. And it's this like crazy weird dark tonal shift. And I really like it and I think it worked really well because I think what that was trying to do is sort of John Favreau's way of being like just in case the fans, you know, were getting a little too comfy with Hero Mando, you know, Baby Yoda Daddy Mando from season 1, like just in case you thought this guy was getting a little too morally upright, you know, he's still a bounty hunter and he'll still string this guy up and leave him for the dogs, literally. So I just thought that was a very smart like thing to do, just so that we don't, you know, because part of the appeal with Mando was him being this morally gray hero. And they wanted to I think this was their way of kind of reminding us of that. I don't know, I could be reading too much into it, but that's what we do here.
Read too much into things.
Yeah. um but then they undercut it. Then they totally like had this really dark Mando tone to like remind us that he's this gray bounty hunter, and then they smash hard cut to Mando flying to Tatooine with this heroic fanfare playing. And I was like, what am I even like what just happened? It was really bizarre. And I watched this episode a couple times and both times just we go from this like excellent, you know, Ludwig van Goranson. I don't know how to say his last name, but the composer, he's also a producer who makes most of Childish Gambino stuff. So we have this really cool like trap kind of mixed with Star Warsy soundtrack for the opening scene as Mando's like murdering these guys and leaving them for the dogs, and then smash cut to heroic fanfare. It's like, it's a little yucky, a weird juxtaposition, but I don't know.
I would argue that maybe the more grimy tone was meant to convey the city rather than Mando's actions, but I think his character and his portrayal of his character remained very consistent within the entire episode mainly. I mean, the guys pulled guns on him first, so he kills them all. And then this other guy who, you know, ordered the guy to or ordered all of his men to point their guns at Mando gets hung up by this street lamp and then left to die. I mean, that's pretty dark.
No, yeah,
But
I'm just saying. I don't get me wrong. I'm just saying, like tonally, it was a very jarring transition to go from the sleep. I feel like at the least they could have, you know, as he's flying to Tatooine, instead of having, you know, bright, heroic, flashy fanfare, just like an ambient little, you know, classic Star Wars, doo doo doo, you know, whatever. Like Star Wars is good at these weird, mysterious, spacey chords. I just,
Mhm.
It's a little minor thing, but it's those minor things that are important in kind of keeping your tone relatively consistent. You don't want to jump from one side of the spectrum to the other too fast.
I mean, I would say I also watched the episode twice, and neither time did I notice anything, particularly jarring. I felt pretty it felt like it transitioned well to me, but I don't know, Casey, what did you think about sort of the tone over the course of the entire episode? Do you think it stayed mainly consistent?
I think so. The only kind of interesting things that I picked up on were, as James was saying in the beginning, I found it interesting that he didn't, from my perspective, I found it interesting that he didn't just kill the Cyclops guy because I felt like that would be more Mando, I guess. But I understand why he just kind of strung him up. But I've also found the kind of, I don't know if it's necessarily an inconsistency, but how interesting it was that Mando just said yes to being a partner with the Marshal when
Yeah, that
all
was
the partnerships we've seen in the past, he's always been like, I don't really do
yeah, or there's
partnerships.
been
Mhm.
some like begrudging like incentive for him to do it. But yeah, that was interesting. I didn't even question his motives the first time, but the second time I was watching the episode was with my dad, and what happens is they're about to kill each other in the saloon, and then the sandworm comes in, and he's like, "Okay, I'll help you." And my dad was like, "Why? Like, what changed over the 1 minute of having the crate dragon roll through town?" Like,
Mhm.
it's just, and again, I like it's these aren't the hugest nitpicks, and like I'm not gonna die on any of these hills, but it is just kind of like we couldn't have had any like better reason. I don't know. It just felt a little bit
Yeah.
like why couldn't why does Mando care? Why doesn't he? What's stopping him from just killing this guy anyways and taking the armor? Like
I agree.
it's like
Well,
yeah.
I think I mean, this is probably the showrunner's rationale, but probably I mean, Mando is a very morally gray character, right? So I think that
Yeah.
he would kill the sheriff if, like, there was no real immediate threat. Like, I think what was in Mando's mind when he first saw the sheriff was, "Oh, this guy killed a Mandalorian and is wearing his armor or something, and he's super disrespectful, and he's not doing anything well, and he's sort of ruling by fear over these people." But then when he sees the sand dragon come in, or the crate dragon, I should say, he realizes, "Oh, this guy's actually here to, like, help other people." And at some core level, I don't think that the Mandalorian is so morally depraved that he would kill this village's only protector against this sort of thing. So that's why he sort of goes on this journey. But you're right; it feels like more of a weak emotional motive than anything hard in the story. Because really, the only reason he helps this guy like materially is to get the armor. That is the only thing he
Yeah.
benefits from materially.
Yeah.
And
So yeah.
your rationale makes sense, and it would be a good rationale, but the fact that we have to sit here and think about and come up with that ourselves instead of
Yeah.
just being able to get that from the show speaks enough for it being a problem. Um,
Hmm.
like that should have there should be a clear I mean, and that's kind of the risk you run with side quest missions is your motivation shouldn't just be get this over with so we can get back to the main thing. Like that shouldn't be it should be engaging enough that you can forget about everything else and really like fully buy into it. And I guess to me, I didn't feel like Mando had any real reason to be there. Cause I mean, in some of the other side missions, like I think this episode is most similar to actually my favorite episode from season one, the farm planet episode, where he's like
Yeah.
sort of doing the
Hmm.
same thing as he is here, protecting the town. But in that one,
True.
we had some time for him to get an emotional he had that emotional attachment to the farmer lady, and he had the whole thing with Cara Dune, and it just like felt like there was a little bit more time for us to actually care to believe that Mando would care at all, enough about these people to do anything. Um,
Hmm.
and the
Yeah.
fact that they were also hunting Mando there, like he wasn't just doing this for nothing. They were also after him. But this time it's literally just well, I guess I might as well kill this crate dragon while I'm here. It's like, I mean, he did not at all need to kill the crate dragon in order to get the armor. He invented the own challenge for him to overcome in this episode. Like, you 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 could have just shot him and been on your way.
I mean, he could have just shot him, but like, is that really within his character to do? Like at that point, once you realize that he's the protector of this people. I mean, you said it very well. This is very similar to that episode in the forest, and I think that you're right. That episode, I think, is better on like almost every metric except maybe like visuals in terms of effects.
Come on,
But
Sorry.
you're good. Whatever.
it's fine. But and you're right, you know, the romantic connection between him and whoever the farmer lady was, and this whole Cara Dune introduction, those were very enticing to watch, and I don't think they had the same amount and the same quality of relationships in this episode. But I don't know. I don't feel like it's in the Mandalorian's character to kill a protector of a people.
Now,
It doesn't feel right to me.
the protector point is the only thing kind of inhibiting me here, but I do want to point out that we did just see him string up a guy who like mildly betrayed him to leave him to get eaten by dogs, you know? Like,
Well, this guy also shot a Gamoran guard who was fighting in the ring, and then threatened to kill Mando.
yeah, all right.
Well, I mean, he's a killer. Like, he's not
Yeah,
a
but
protector of anyone. He's a pretty sleazy dude.
But Cobb Vance was straight up like, I only see one of us walking out of here. But like, I feel like they established that Mando's morally gray and will kill people, only to a scene later be like, actually, he's a do-gooder who helps the town. It's like,
I think he's always been a do-gooder that helps the town. And I think that he's only very discerning when it comes to people that, number one, betray him. He really does not
sure,
like people that
yeah,
betray him.
yeah.
And Mando is a man of his word. You even see that in the first scene where
Yeah.
he's like, "You won't die by my hand. I promise you that." He didn't die by his hand.
You'll just die by my inadvertent dog gnarl attack.
Was not by his hand.
I guess.
But like he's always had this thing against sort of the sleazy underbelly. Like he was
Sure.
prepared to kill those people in season 1 that betrayed him. All those bounty hunters that were shooting at him when he was escaping from that planet. Like all of them were about to go down.
Oh yeah, those
Right?
bounty hunters on that planet in that episode, and see, you see, we're starting to see how forgettable a lot of season 1 was. I
Well-
have no idea what you're talking about.
Carl Weathers, I think, is the name of the actor. Who played the leader of the bounty hunters. I just forget his name. He's a
Wait.
big character.
Bill Burr?
No. Within the first couple episodes, Carl Weathers.
Oh,
the-
I was thinking of the prison break episode.
No. The first couple episodes were all of the bounty hunters on like the original town that he is operating in. Shoot him off the planet when he's trying to escape with Baby Yoda.
Oh my
Yes.
gosh, yeah, I barely remember. Goodness.
And
I
then
need
all
to-
the Mandalorians come out and help him.
Yeah.
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 Oh, okay. That was actually like now that I know what we're talking about, that was I remember that being really cool when all
Yeah,
the
those are-
Mandalorians come out and help him.
Yeah, those first 3 episodes are like awesome
Yeah,
because
that
there's
was
a
a
lot to them.
really tight arc. And then the
Yeah.
farm planet was just the best episode ever right after that. But hold on. Guys, I want to talk about something really like okay. We've clearly all seen the season 2 leaks that have been coming out for months now. The cast for this season just keeps getting bigger and bigger. Ahsoka's going to be in season 2. Boba Fett's going to be in season 2. Captain Rex is going to be. Sabine is going to be. You know, all these characters are rumored, heavily rumored, borderline confirmed to be in season 2 of The Mandalorian. Is that a good thing or a bad thing? That is my question I'm posing to you guys in our Socratic seminar today.
For clarification, you're asking if the big cast is a good thing or a bad thing?
Not necessarily the cast, but do you think adding in all these outside Star Wars characters to this season is going to be good or bad? Like, is that a good idea for them to do?
Ooh.
Yeah, I mean, like I think just to get it started, I think this really depends on if they get in. Like let's imagine for the sake of argument that all 4 of them are in, right?
Sure.
So we have Boba Fett, Ahsoka, Rex, and Sabine. Or
And
is it not Sabine?
I think it's Bo-Katan.
Oh, Bo-Katan. Oh, yeah, Bo-Katan. So let's, for the sake of argument, imagine that all 4 of those are in there, right?
Sure.
I think that you can only handle like really 2 of those, and you got to choose between like I think Ahsoka and Rex come as a pair, and then you choose between whether you want Boba Fett or Bo-Katan, or
And
maybe
Boba Fett's-
Bo-Katan.
Well, Boba Fett's kind of confirmed though.
Well, yeah. So Boba Fett's confirmed, right? Really, I honestly don't think that Ahsoka and Rex will play a huge role if they do get in. I think that there may be gonna be a setup for the next season or come in very late within this one.
Is Ahsoka confirmed? I think Ahsoka's
No.
confirmed.
No.
Wait,
It's
I thought it was
Didn't they
Rosario
cast
Dawson.
Rosario Dawson?
it's all been from what I know and from what I heard, all of these news sources jumped to say that it was confirmed, but in reality, it was only the information came through one website that had it rumored through, like, some industry insider. So,
Mm.
I'm pretty sure
Oh.
there's no actual confirmation
Whoa,
yet.
wait. The Mandalorian from CBR.com, The Mandalorian deleted Disney Instagram post confirms a major casting rumor. A deleted Instagram post from Disney Plus's India account confirms the long-rumored
India.
addition of Rosario Dawson as Ahsoka Tano.
Oh, snap.
The post poses the question of what Ahsoka Tano's live-action avatar looks like, followed by Rosario Dawson is set to play the famous Clone Wars Jedi. Dang. This is straight up. This is just straight up Disney Plus's India. Like, there's a picture of the post.
Really?
Oh my gosh.
Wow. They really fumbled the
Yeah.
back with that one.
Oh,
Dang.
pick it up, India.
Pick it up, India.
They really dropped the ball. But okay, I don't know. I don't think it's a good idea for them to try and cram all these people in. Like, I really think a big part of what go
Mm.
ahead, Kasey. No, go ahead.
Okay, because I have a interesting connection point that I was talking about last night that we after finishing this episode, I was just talking and comparing it to Rogue One. I liked it. I know some people
I know
didn't
one little kitty here. One little baby
Okay.
boo-boo kid in here.
But we're talking with my dad about how Rogue One was made well in the way that it was a movie where you knew how it was going to end before it started, and it was set within a specific like time period, so like that kind of like helped the pacing in a
Mhm.
way. And so I'm just thinking, like, comparing that to the Mandalorian, that we have like that good kind of pacing somewhat going on, that we know that the Mandalorian arc is happening in between these two like Star Wars in the Star Wars timeline. I don't know specifically off the top of my head,
I think 6 and
but
7, yeah?
yeah, 6 and
Mhm.
7. So we know specifically that it's happening in between there, and like and I just feel personally that putting that many people or trying to like shove in that many people will just ruin that pacing,
Yeah,
because it's going to make it less about Mando and more about cameos.
yeah, I 100% agree. Like, I think what such a huge part of what made season 1 so good, it was that it's this fresh new thing that kind of stands on its own 2 feet outside of the rest of Star Wars, and now we're kind of jumping on all this hype from Ahsoka and Clone Wars season 7 and throwing that in Mandalorian. It feels like they're doing it more. I'm really conflicted about the Ahsoka point. I really honestly would be fine without Boba Fett. Like, I don't really think it. I feel like I'm the only one who's not crazy hyped for Boba Fett to be in Mando season 2. I think I'd rather have Ahsoka only for plot purposes, because I feel like Ahsoka actually has a shot at like maybe knowing something about Yoda's people or teaching Yoda somehow, like Baby Yoda somehow. I feel like Ahsoka makes more sense plot wise, because Boba Fett's not even a real Mandalorian either. Like,
Well, so also I did some extra research on Germany's Instagram, and this is just a side point. On Germany's Instagram account, that they posted a story that said that Rosario Dawson is in there somewhere. So
dang.
she's probably definitely Ahsoka. But Bo-Katan, I have no idea. But in terms of saying that Boba doesn't have as much pertinence to the story, I think he just has a different type of pertinence. Because
Mm,
Boba Fett has been around in the Clone Wars this entire time. He is heavily connected with the Jedi. I mean, Mace Windu killed his father in front of him. Like, it was terrifying, right? This kid has been after Mace Windu his entire life. He has been involved in all of these plots against the Jedi. It's sort of a different take on it. And I think what might end up happening is that Boba Fett joins Mandalorian, and they form this sort of pact to find Baby Yoda's people. And then maybe Ahsoka comes in, but then Boba Fett and Ahsoka have this huge sort of standoff of ideals about the Jedi. Right? Both of them have forsaken the Jedi in a way, but Ahsoka is obviously leaning more towards liking them. And I think that if they do end up bringing both Ahsoka and Boba Fett, that's where they're going to draw a lot of the conflict from. And in fact, I would go so far as to say that the episode that is being directed by Dave Filoni is going to be the episode where that all gets resolved and all that conflict occurs.
If Ahsoka doesn't show up in the episode directed by Dave Filoni, I don't nothing will make sense anymore. I mean, I feel like that's got to be the one certainty of 2020. Is like Dave Filoni and Ahsoka are definitely going to be partnered up. But I think that's a really solid prediction for how something like that would probably go down, Charlie. So like, if that does happen, kudos to you.
I know.
You heard it here first.
You heard it here first.
Yeah.
Episode 13 of the series, so I think that's 5 of the second season. There will be Ahsoka. I'm going to say it.
All right. And I feel like that's probably a pretty good place to introduce her. I don't know. I was a little worried that they would lean on the Boba Fett crutch too early in this episode when I like at the very first second, oh, I know of another Mandalorian. I was like, oh, great. We're already pulling out Boba Fett. Like, we couldn't even have one episode of Mando action. So I was really pleasantly surprised when it was a Boba imposter, I thought that was great. I loved Cobb Vance's character. I thought it was such a nice return to a classic Western trope. I just loved how it looked, like the red scarf with the Boba Fett armor, and I just thought it looked.
Oh yeah,
I
I
just
had a
thought it looked
point
really cool. Yeah, go ahead.
for that. That it was just I love the costume design because the way that the armor fit him and how gangly he looked was
Yeah.
very I
No,
mean
it
in
was
the
cool.
best way
I
possible.
felt represented.
Yeah.
Because it definitely it hit the Western kind of sheriff silhouette in a way, but also made it very clear that that armor does not fit him in the way that he thinks it does.
No,
And
yeah,
I felt like it was just
absolutely.
a very good way to kind of show that. And I mean, of course, they tell it in a way later when he's going through his whole backstory, but I thought it was a really interesting way to kind of show that it doesn't belong to him.
Yeah, no, you're 100% right. It was really clever costuming and just a really clever, I think, subversion of expectation, because especially with all this Tamura Morrison news knowledge, and obviously this wasn't intentional because it takes way too long to plan a TV show than for them to pull something like this. But with all this knowledge about Tamura Morrison's in the cast and Boba Fett's coming soon, I'm sure as soon as we heard, the words "another Mandalorian," everyone was like, "Oh my gosh, it's Boba Fett!" And I'm sure everyone kind of expected to see some sort of Boba Fett thing going in, and then for them to turn around and kind of subvert us with Cobb Vanth, I think was really clever. And again, obviously that wasn't intentional, but I think it just worked out well.
Mm-hmm. Well, so here's actually a thing that I'm interested in. Who do you guys think was that mysterious boot clangy guy in the final scene of one of the first episodes in the first season when I believe it was in that episode with the inexperienced bounty hunter? Do you remember how they left that girl just out in the desert?
Oh,
And then the boot
yes.
clanging guy
And
showed
then the
up.
boot clangy guy showed up. Is that Cobb Vanth or is that Boba Fett?
I feel like that's got to be Boba.
You think
But
it's Boba,
but
not
the
Cobb?
spurs are on Boba's armor, which means it would be Cobb. I still feel like it's Boba, just purely for teaser purposes. I feel like it has to be Boba. Just from it'd be too weird for them to have that sort of, because he also shows up in the next episode. He visits the people in the jail cell. At the very end, he walks up to Boba's or Mando's ex team in the jail cell. So it's I feel like it'd be weird to tease towards this guy, and then it's oh yeah, that was just Cobb Vanth. I feel like that's a little bit too much of a letdown. I feel like it's Boba. I think it's Boba.
And it wouldn't make sense either.
Yeah, what is Cobb Vanth doing out there?
Right?
Just
Why is he
to a base
following
point.
Mando? And I feel like he would have recognized Mando at least.
Yeah, as a Mandalorian or something, right? What is Cobb Vanth doing tracking down? It just doesn't add up. Um, but yeah, I don't know. Does it? We're starting to creep a little bit on our
Time wise.
time wise for today. Does anyone have a maybe a closer point to talk about?
Any
Any
theories?
theories? Any what do we think's going to happen next episode? I'm open to ideas. What do you guys think next episode's going to be about? Realistically, place your ballot.
Ooh.
Place your bet. Give me a plot synopsis of episode 2, season 2.
We don't even have a title to work off of, so
No, no,
this
no.
makes
Yeah,
it a
I
little
know.
harder.
I know. Just go. Wait, hold
Kasey,
on.
I
Oh
would say
Yeah.
ladies
goodness.
first.
Why did they not give this episode a title like they did for all the season 1 ones? Oh wait, no, it was the Marshal. Never
Yeah,
mind.
the Marshal, yeah.
It just didn't say that on my Disney Plus thing. Like it was only in the title card. Uh anyways, Charlie, do you have a plot guess? Casey, do you have a plot guess?
Ladies
Ooh.
first.
Ooh, I definitely think the guy from the final scene's going to show up in one way or another. Either
Yeah.
shooting or like a da da da, someone's following us. I wonder who it is, but we're on this side quest, so we're not going to pay attention to it.
Yeah.
Um, so let's see. I feel
Hmm.
like Mando is going to continue on his hunt to find Baby Yoda's people. But of course, money. He needs some sort of tip, some sort of favor to cash in. So that's going to send him on another adventure. And while he's going on this adventure, he's either going to meet up with someone or he's going to go at it alone, no buddy type. Since we already had our buddy episode as our first episode, and then he's just going to be like he's a tracker, so I feel like there's going to be a level of like paranoia that he's being followed. I feel like that would be really interesting to see the hunter get hunted.
Ah, that would be good. I think I don't think we're done on Tatooine because we never saw him go back to that mechanic lady and get his ship. Um,
Yes.
so I don't think
Mhm.
we're quite done on Tatooine. I agree with you that I think we're gonna see more of Tamura Morrison in the next episode, but I don't know how much I can string together aside from that. Maybe we'll see some cool Moss Isley stuff or something. I don't, or maybe we'll get a Sarlacc. Who knows? But I know I have a feeling next episode's gonna be also on Tatooine for at least part of it.
I agree. Here's my hard predict.
All right,
Alright?
hard predict.
Hard predict. This next episode is gonna go one of two ways, both of them start the same way. I think Casey's right. I think that we catch Mando coming back from this area, just riding in the desert or something, or maybe getting back to the Razor Crest, and then Boba Fett, I think, Tamura Morrison, is gonna show up and confront Mando or possibly attack him. Now, there's two ways that this goes. Either he confronts Mando and they team up, and then they both decide to go and bring Baby Yoda back. Not out of the Mandalorian Creed, because technically Boba Fett is not a Mandalorian and doesn't share in their values, but just out of some shared bounty hunter type thing. Maybe Boba will get some money out of it or something. Uh,
Or his armor,
or
the armor that Mando
or the
has
armor,
with him.
or, and I think this is the more interesting idea, Boba Fett knows about the value of Baby Yoda and steals him. And
What?
Boba Fett then takes Baby Yoda, and now Mando has to go and get Baby Yoda back from one of the best bounty hunters in the
Oh,
galaxy.
I would love that. That feels
That
like
would be
season finale
so
material, though, to
cool.
be honest. Like,
So, yeah.
I know Moff Gideon is coming back for the in this season at some point because his actor was talking about like filming a duel with the Darksaber. Like he let that
Mm.
slip in an interview, so he's for sure coming back, and we're for sure getting a duel. Maybe it'll be with
Excited for
dude,
that.
maybe it'll be with
Wait.
Ahsoka.
I will be
Oh,
tuning
that would
in.
be sick if that was with
Wow.
Ahsoka. But
Also, maybe
uh,
Moff Gideon is the one that contracted Boba Fett to get Baby Yoda back.
oh shoot, that been it. That yeah.
True.
I like your idea, Charlie, about like picking up exactly where this episode left off, and maybe like our opening action scene is Boba like attacking Mando. But I honestly wouldn't be surprised if Mando like got away and it was just sort of a Boba stinger. But
Hmm.
I don't know. But I guess that's kind of all I can say. I can't wait for the Mando pirate ship episode that we've been seeing in some of the trailers. That episode looks great.
What?
Have you not seen it? It's like there's an
I've
episode.
stayed away from trailers. I've stayed away from
Oh,
trailers.
there's a scene in the trailers that's literally just Mando on a boat.
Yes.
Like we have Mando pirate
Yes.
ship episode, the high seas,
Fisherman.
Fishermando.
Fishermando.
I can't. We are on.
Fisherman.
We are on it. I cannot wait. I think that's going to be a great episode, or it'll suck and it'll be a side mission. But anyways, I think that's going to wrap us up for today. I really hate to bring be the party pooper that I always have to be, but as the keeper of time, that's my job because time keeps marching forward. But as always, thanks so much for listening to another edition of the Socratic Cinema Pod Showcast. We really appreciate all you guys who listen to the podcast, each and every single one of you, all 5,000 of you now. That's weird to say. I'm not going to say that. But seriously, thank you so much for listening. If you enjoyed the episode, please be sure to like it, comment it, write us a pretty review on Apple Podcasts. We got a very kind review the other day. It really warmed my heart. Maybe we'll read our favorite comment of the week on the show or something. Incentivize. But seriously, thank you so much. If you enjoyed, follow us on all our social medias, on Instagram, Twitter, Twitch. You can find us on all of those. Actually follow us on Twitch now because I did a stream on there and it was fun. Charlie was there. We streamed for about an hour. We played all sorts of games. Sekiro, Getting Over It. Charlie, was it fun?
It was indeed very fun.
It was super fun and a good time. So head on over there for some live content. Yeah, if you had fun, clap once. If you didn't, clap twice. Share the podcast with your friends and family. And we'll catch you on the next edition. I feel a little weird that our Socratic Spooky Month is over. And I'm trying hard to think of if there's anything else I need to say before we officially sign off. I don't feel like saying adios today. So I'm going to say a firm and hearty goodbye to you right now. Do you guys have anything else to say? We have a cool video essay. I'm just going to say it now. We have a cool video essay coming out on December 12th. You guys are hearing it first now live before I make an announcement on our Instagram, because if you stayed to the end, you're one of the elites. But yeah. All right. I've made my piece. Have you guys made your piece?
Absolutely made my piece.
I have.
How about this? Because the Mandalorian stopped on a major, little tidbit. We'll stop here on a major little tidbit. You guys might be seeing an interview of some pretty famous fellas coming to this coming to this podcast very soon.
Yeah, we don't want to make any promises or say anything too soon.
Yeah, no promises. Nothing too soon.
Trying to work a little Socratic magic over here to make some cool stuff happen for you guys. So fingers crossed stuff works out, and stay tuned. But yeah, good evening and goodbye.
We've been Socratic Cinema.
All right, cut it out.
Adios.
Oh, Craig, leave.